In this video, I'm going to have a look at Bitcoin, the total market cap, others, as well as talk to you a little bit about the FOMC meeting. And at the end, you'll need to stick around because I'll point out a trade that I'm stalking later on this evening. It's Craig here from the Gromiko. I hope you've had a great week. It's been a crazy October. Let's just put it out there. It's been a lot going on with with the market's biggest ever flash crash in dollar terms. As well as just a whole bunch going on over there in the USA regarding the legislation, the bills, all this sort of thing. Now, whilst there is an underlying current of positivity and bullishness, we are certainly not seeing that through the charts in a big way just yet, with most of the market moving higher than pulling back. But I'm going to disseminate that and show it to you on a chart because I'm feeling cautiously optimistic leading into the Fed FOMC meeting. First things first, let's touch on Bitcoin here. Let's look at the daily time frame. We've got a higher low and we've got a higher high. Now, I know some people draw sloping trend lines and all that sort of thing, and they'll tell me that it's not an uptrend, and that's absolutely fine. I don't mind that at all. The same as I say that the CME gap has absolutely no bearing whatsoever on Bitcoin's price. People will have their way of doing things, and that's the beauty of markets, isn't it? It's we can all have different opinions, and that's what makes the market work. But what I'm seeing is a higher low right here, followed by a higher high. Bitcoin officially in an uptrend on the daily time frame. Now, it's not an uptrend that I'm really stoked about at this stage, but it is the beginning of hopefully more to come. And the more to come is really going to come from off the back of the FOMC meeting, which I'll touch on in just a minute. But we have a higher low and a higher high, a little bullish candle right there right now. And I'll show you what's been going on. Many of you that trade will be aware that, we had this lovely pullback. And for me, this is close to one of my trading strategies where if it breaks the high, I'll get long, and it would have hit first target of 1-to-1. Now, I didn't trade that because it did not fit my rules exactly, but it tried. It pushed higher, it failed, there's a lower high and a lower low. So officially, the 4-hour is now in a downtrend. And these are the sorts of conditions that have kept me out of the market since the October 10 flash crash. You see, we're not seeing any sustained momentum across most of the market. There are some green shoots, which I'll show you at the end of this video. But for the most part, the mid time frame, which is by 4 hour, it's a time frame I love to trade. We've just not seen any cyclicity or follow through. With that being said, though, if we look at the 12-hour now, what do we have? We've got a higher low, a higher high, a pullback in, and it's in and around this moving average zone that I like to trade. It's what I consider to be called the cradle zone. It's just terminology that I use. With this small bullish candle there closing in nearly 5 hours, if it breaks the high of that, well, this could potentially be a new little pivot like this, i.e. it could be a higher low. And if it is a higher low, well, what it needs to then do is push to a new higher high, and then we will have a third or a second wave in this trend. Now, I'm not talking about waves as in Elliott wave. I'm just talking about cyclicity and how I read the market and disseminate the information in front of me. It's a beautiful, clean pullback, and I'm all for it. But the biggest step is now that it steps. It steps out and it moves away. With the FOMC meeting coming up and the rates, of course, within that meeting, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think 25 basis points is already factored in. I don't think there's going to be any major surprises if 25 basis points comes out. The biggest, and here's the bit about the FOMC, right? If we cut 50 basis points, yes, that will be very good for our market. It will be very good for all risk on assets. More than likely anyway, highly probable that occurs. The biggest thing, though, I think is, and if you've been watching my content here on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and ask me any questions in the comments or on Facebook or wherever you're seeing this content. One of the things I've been talking about a lot is how cruise ships take a long time to turn, but when they turn, they continue in that direction for quite some time. This is the state of the market at the moment. This is the state of the US government around legislation and the framework. But it's also, if we see quantitative tightening be eased, it doesn't mean we're going to go quantitative tightening straight into quantitative easing, but if the language around quantitative tightening starts to become a little bit more that we're going to be pulling away from that, that is a positive move, and that is another little string for the cruise ship to turn a little bit more, a couple more degrees where that cruise ship turns a little bit further. So it's the language around the quantitative tightening that I think is going to be very interesting and have a big impact on our markets. If we don't lean towards the quantitative tightening diminishing or reducing. I think that we will see some downside here, even with a 25 basis point rate cut, because I think it is already factored in. So to long story short, Bitcoin's in a beautiful place to have another leg up until we see it. And of course, with so much news and information coming out in the next 24 hours, it's a big what if, but we are in a very, very nice position there. Coming through now, looking at the total market cap, it's very much the same as Bitcoin. When you look at the 12-hour, exactly the same as what I've said as far as the chart is concerned. And the daily also very much in that line as well. The one thing with the total market cap is that it is now above this support level that we did break through on October 10 and have a little bit of an issue around. We're above this 3.68 trillion. It'd be lovely to see us push on around that $4 trillion mark again. A nice looking chart with a decent looking trend that needs to now leg up to continue to keep this trend in motion, therefore opening up plenty of trading opportunities for traders like me and you to take advantage of good, strong trends. And I won't trade until I have those good, strong trends. Others, on the other hand, whilst the higher low and the higher high is there, note the difference in the moving averages. On the total market cap, they are much closer together. On the others cap, we are further apart. We have not seen quite a sustained move. And that support that we saw through here, I'll just compare that to total, the support running through here on total market cap. Have a look at others. We are still well below that zone. Now, the others chart is everything outside of your top 10, and it's only a 2.5, we'll call it 260 billion market cap. This is where our altcoins outside of the top 10 lie. And as you will all be very aware, it has not been a very prosperous period of time for altcoins. Even, the top 10's had a few decent moves. Notably, Ether's had a move, Binance has had a move, Solana. There's been a few that have had good moves. But outside of that top 10, well, you can see it on the chart. It's been pretty quiet. Again, though, that higher low is there. The potential for a step up or a leg up is available, and that is what I'm hoping to see as we come into this heavy period of news over the next 24 hours. Now, I promised I would show you a trade that I'm stalking right now. This is a watch list that I do in the morning with my scam. Zcash has been the talk of the town. It has been by far and above the strongest chart as far as trends go for a long time now. And this is something that I also want to speak on when it comes to your altcoins. So let's do that first. We're all in altcoins for one reason. We believe in Bitcoin, but we want our altcoins to perform better than Bitcoin, typically so we can buy more Bitcoin. Bitcoin's our long-term store of value. And our altcoins, if we play altcoins, it's to get more capital to buy more Bitcoin. We want to see altcoins outperforming Bitcoin. Now, if you go back to August over here, Zcash was much like many of the altcoins in the market. It had bottomed out and sort of gone sideways and not done anything for, the greater part of a year until it did, until September. And when it moved, boy, oh boy, did it move. So let's go from the start of September to its high. Nearly a 9x return. Now, this is why with altcoins, you might be feeling the pinch right now. However, if we do start to see a stronger market with the good infrastructure, with more liquidity available, lower rates, quantitative tightening reducing, and a lot of these positives that I've spoken about start to kick in, and we get an alt run, well, the doldrums and the long periods of grinding and worrying and thinking and all those mental gymnastics that we do, or that you might do, can be over and out within 2 months. So I just wanted to show you this chart to give you a little bit of faith in your altcoins. They're not all going to do this, by the way, but it can change very, very quickly. Now, back to the trade that I'm looking at here. There's a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, beautiful cyclicity, great convergence, great moving averages. And I'm stalking a trade here on the 12-hour. As you can see, clean trend, clear trend, pulling back into this moving average zone that I like, also in around those old highs. I've got 4 hours and 49 minutes to go until this closes small and bullish, but if it does, there may be a trade there for me. Equally, if it pulls back in a little bit further, I will equally be looking for a trade there. So it's one that could either set up tonight or over the next couple of days, and it's the best chart out there as far as I'm concerned for trading because the trend is sound. Guys, if you like this stuff, please hit the like button, subscribe, go to thegrammyco.com if you want to join my free newsletter, and I hope this finds you well. It's been a bit of a grind, hasn't it? Hang in there. We're just recovering from that massive crash on the 10th of October. I do see some good things coming with that cruise ship starting to turn a little bit faster. Have a great day, and let's see how the FOMC comes out tomorrow. Hopefully we wake up to a sea of green. Bye for now.